Hello, I'm Laura Painter. You're watching an ABC 10 Plus recap of stories you may have missed. We continue to follow a devastating story out of Lake Tahoe. Then, parents in Stockton frustrated about finding free places to keep kids cool this summer. The ABC 10 Plus recap starts right now.
We're learning new information about a deadly boating accident in South Lake Tahoe over the weekend.
The El Dorado County Sheriff's Office says the body of an 8th person was recovered just this afternoon. ABC 10's Roxanne Elias has the details tonight.
A serene day out on South Lake Tahoe on Saturday quickly took a turn for the worse around 3 in the afternoon, causing chaos for people out on the water.
We had a freak Sierra storm come through, and it was incredibly destructive.
Here you can see the boats at Camp Richardson clashing into each other and water pushing them up against the marina. South Lake Tahoe Mayor Tamara Wallace says in her 28 years of living here, she had never quite seen something like this before. And although they have had drownings, knowing that 7 people have died as a result of Saturday's storm is the worst she has seen.
If there had been an alert system, it would have been difficult for that boat specifically, but boats in general, to get to a marina in time to avoid something like that.
The National Weather Service in Reno calls it an unusual but not unheard of weather system that came through the Sierra.
If you look at the radar, go back and look at the radar data, you'd be like, okay, there's some showers there, but you wouldn't have expected those to have produced intense winds on the lake. And
the duration was short-lived, but it was long enough to result in this boat capsizing in the D.L. Bliss State Park area. Around 3 in the afternoon on the day of the storm, the El Dorado County Sheriff's Office responded to a call of 10 people in the water while wave heights were around 8 feet.
Since the incident, we have not stopped searching for the missing individuals.
On Monday, the Sheriff's Office announced the last person missing had been located. 2 are in the hospital. Sergeant Kyle Parker says they're waiting to identify the victims until they can make proper notifications. Wallace says it's her understanding the people were visitors and not from the area.
I think that's the important part of takeaway of this situation, is that when you visit Lake Tahoe, our lake is different than most other lakes.
And in the meantime, the Coast Guard says it will be assisting all agencies involved.
Is going to be assisting some of the local agencies in an investigation on the incident to try to clarify some information and figure out exactly what happened.
In South Lake Tahoe, Roxanne Elias, ABC 10.
Roxanne, thank you. The mayor of South Lake Tahoe says she encourages visitors to hire a boat captain if you're not experienced with the unpredictable waters.
Well, developing tonight, Tahoe is not for sale. That is the message from the nonprofit Keep Tahoe Blue. Tonight, as the federal government explores the sale of public lands, including in the Tahoe Basin, groups and lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are speaking out. ABC 10's Becca Hotbecker joins us in studio to break everything down.
Alex, this is a proposal Senate Republicans included in something called the Budget Reconciliation Bill. It's part of ongoing negotiations over President Trump's so-called One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Senate Republicans want to sell federal land to generate revenue and build more housing. Bipartisan opponents say this isn't the way to do it.
Lake Tahoe is a gem of Northern California and tourist destination drawing visitors from around the world. Much of the land in the Tahoe Basin is federally owned and now, under a new federal proposal, could be up for sale.
The potential consequences could be devastating in Tahoe.
Noah Banayan is government affairs manager for the League to Save Lake Tahoe, also known as Keep Tahoe Blue. She's worried about a proposal from the U.S. Senate Committee on Energy and Natural Resources. This map, created by the Wilderness Society, shows some 250 million acres of public federal land across 11 western states. Under the proposal by Senate Republicans, the U.S. Forest Service and Bureau of Land Management would be required to sell approximately 3 million acres of this over the next 5 years. Land that could be for sale includes much of the Tahoe Basin.
When you look at the map and you see places like Kiva Beach, where, people love to take their dogs, Fallen Leaf Lake and Inspiration Point around Emerald Bay. I mean, these are some of the most beautiful places in California, in the West, in the world, dare I say. These public lands are what make Tahoe, Tahoe. And without that, potentially in the future, is really scary to think about what it would look like in Tahoe.
The Senate committee says President Trump recognized the connection between federal land ownership and the housing crisis, which is why he pledged to open up portions of federal land for large-scale housing construction. This proposal allows a fraction of 1% of federal land to be used to build houses.
I urge my colleagues to oppose any plan that would supersede the will of our local communities.
Republican Congressman Kevin Kiley of Rockland, whose district includes Tahoe, opposes this proposal.
It is so important that any decisions made regarding the acquisition or disposition of these lands be made only after significant and meaningful local input.
Democratic Congressman Mike Thompson also opposes it. His district includes federal lands as well.
This didn't go through any hearings. There wasn't any process that was followed to designate these lands as surplus lands. It doesn't seem to me that that is honoring the people of the United States of America, who have every right to access these public lands.
California's senators, both Democrats, are also opposed to this proposal and say they plan to fight it.
I reached out to the U.S. Forest Service and USDA for comment and did not hear back. As for what's next, a lot could change between now and when the bill becomes law. The Senate still has to vote on the budget reconciliation bill. Then it goes back to the House, where members can make additional changes and then work with the Senate to come up with one version of the bill. Alex.
We start tonight with the conflict in the Middle East. Today, Iran launched missile attacks on a U.S. military base in Qatar.
And this follows Saturday's American bombing of Iran's nuclear sites. And just moments ago, President Trump announced a ceasefire between Israel and Iran. Perry Russom's in Washington with the latest.
President Trump says Israel and Iran have agreed to a complete and total ceasefire after more than a week of exchanging attacks. Trump says the ceasefire will start at midnight Eastern. The 24-hour ceasefire broken up into two blocks, with Iran initiating the first 12 hours, Israel leading the second 12 hours. After the 24 hours is up, Trump says what he calls the 12-day war will be over. The announcement comes after Iran launched an attack against U.S. troops stationed in Qatar, firing missiles at the Al Udeid air base. It's the largest U.S. air base in the Middle East, home to some 10,000 American troops. A U.S. official tells ABC News the U.S. intercepted the missiles with no impacts on the base.
It really is a heartbeat of the Middle East in terms of our presence there and the use of air forces, and certainly have been supporting the Iran attack. You know, they have been well prepared to receive this. They're well defended.
It comes as there are major questions about how much of Iran's nuclear program was destroyed in Saturday's attack. As President Trump says the facilities were obliterated.
Completely and totally obliterated.
The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff says it's too early to tell the full scope.
Final battle damage will take some time, but initial battle damage assessments indicate that all three sites sustained extremely severe damage and destruction.
President Trump now floating the idea of a regime change in Iran. Trump posting online, if the current Iranian regime is unable to make Iran great again, why wouldn't there be a regime change? The administration clarifying it believes the regime change should come from within Iran.
If they refuse to engage in diplomacy moving forward, why shouldn't the Iranian people rise up against this brutal terrorist regime? That's a question the president raised last night.
President Trump is calling Iran's attack today very weak. He also says Iran gave the U.S. an early notice of the attack. Perry Russom, ABC News, Washington.
It has been a tough start to summer for some families trying to find free ways to stay cool in Stockton, with several pools and splash pads out of service.
But progress is being made with one popular splash pad opening today. ABC 10's Gabriel Porras has the story.
Joining the tireless tempo of traffic is a new tune in downtown Stockton.
I just hear kids' laughter, the sound of the water just hitting the splash pads going, and the children yelling and screaming and chasing each other.
At Weber Point, the splashing tells its own story. To 7-year-old Zionique Mason, it sounds like summer.
I've been waiting for my for the whole summer to come. And now it's open today, and I'm happy now.
She comes back every year, but this time Summer had to wait.
I get to play in the water, and then I get to make friends and stuff.
Repairs to the fountains where friends are made, forcing it to stay closed for an extra month.
Can it be hard sometimes to find, stuff like this?
It is very hard. This is the only place. It was closed last week when we rolled by.
The water fountains here at Weber Point weren't the only summer destination that had a sign saying temporarily closed. When the season began, 4 of the city's 6 public pools were closed. 2 of them will stay closed for the rest of the summer, but one just reopened last week, and that 4th is expected to open later this season.
They just opened the new McKinley Park. They're building a new one in Victory Park.
Project stakeholders say the new pool at Victory Park is expected to open in August.
When it closes, they get sad, and when they reopen, they get happy again.
Slowly but surely returning to Stockton, the sounds of summer.
And it looks like people are having fun, and it sounds like they're happy and stuff.
In Stockton, Gabriel Porras, ABC10.
Gabriel, thank you. Those 2 pools that'll be closed all season are at Oak Park and Sousa Park.
Well, the A's celebrated the groundbreaking of their new stadium in Las Vegas today. Take a look. Former standouts like Dave Stewart and others joined the MLB commissioner for the ceremony on the former Tropicana Hotel site. It marks the beginning of construction of the new more than $1 billion park. The A's new home should be ready for the 2028 season. In the meantime, the team will continue to play at Sutter Health Park. And as we bring in Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods, I know a lot of folks were concerned about them having to play perhaps in 100-degree temperatures. But if you were there over the past few days, it was kind of cool in the evenings, right?
Yeah, what is up with the summer so far?
I know. I don't think too many people are complaining outside of the fact you're right. It does get quite cool when you're outside late in the evening into the early morning hours. So it's kind of that nice in the afternoon, and then you need a light jacket as you head outdoors for the late evening. As far as our live radar, again, we are tracking isolated thunderstorms throughout this year. These are starting to quiet down somewhat, but will still be a part of the forecast until we get to after sunset. Not much else going on throughout the state. We have a nice little onshore flow that will develop, and that's actually going to bring down our temperature somewhat for tomorrow. So it was a brief bump up in these readings for today, getting the work week started here with temperatures warming into the low 90s, not too far off from where we usually are this time of year. Average high is at 90 degrees, 80s for the foothills, and then 60s and 70s for this year. But again, afternoon cloud buildup and the thunderstorms that are popping up. Our June so far has been on par for above average and below average temperatures. We've got 9 days above and 9 days below, with 4 days at or close to normal. Now today's going to be above average, but we're going to kind of flirt right about that normal range for the next couple of days, courtesy of that onshore flow that will develop. As far as our readings right now, we've got sunny skies and temperatures in the upper 80s and lower 90s throughout the valley. Sunset not until 8:34. Still looking at mostly sunny skies for Tahoe in particular, 67 degrees, but we have those isolated storms that are in and around the area, and that just shows how isolated that nature is. In terms of our forecast for tomorrow morning, here we go. We have a little bit of cloudiness streaming through for the morning, but then during the afternoon we'll warm nicely with that light southwest wind. Temperatures in the 80s by 1 p.m. with that peak heat between 4 and 5, but at that point we're at 88, so a little bit below average for our Tuesday. We keep with that southwest flow coming in during the late afternoon on Tuesday and on Wednesday. Not too many changes here for the midweek forecast. It's not until we dig deeper in the outlook that we actually see less in the way of wind and more in the development of warm conditions, with moderate heat risk for our Saturday and Sunday forecasts under a building ridge of high pressure. So we're saying goodbye to the thunderstorms around that area of low. Instead, we'll get more stability under this ridge of high pressure. But again, that's sinking warming air, and it puts us on pace to get those warmer conditions building into the weekend outlook. For tomorrow, our Tuesday, highs in the 70s for the Tahoe Basin with less thunderstorms. Right around the 80s to low 90s for the foothills, with highs across the coast only in the low 60s. And we're going to pull in just a hint of that Bay Area cool air. We'll see temperatures in the 80s to right around the lower 90s for tomorrow. Looking at our regional forecast, you start to see how things are unfolding for the rest of the work week into the weekend. Warmer conditions as we head through the mountains, hills, and even for the coast after a little bit of patchy low clouds that's creating some drizzle out there for tomorrow. We'll get into the 70s. Our 3-day forecast, we've got those highs warming into the low to mid 90s by the end of the work week into this weekend. So we're saying goodbye to the widespread 80s and hello to more realistic conditions for this time of year.
Yeah, we knew it wouldn't last, right?
It couldn't, right?
Right, too good to be true, but we're easing into it, okay?
certainly
Day by day. Monica, thank you.
It is 6:40 on this Monday morning. We are entering the first work week of the summer season. As temperatures go up, so does business for a local chain of ice cream shops. ABC 10's Mark S. Allen at another legendary Leatherbees location, this one in Folsom, with more. Mark, you got Big Daddy's legacy behind you there.
I do. You and I both very good friends to Big Daddy Dave. Just to see a photo of Dave in all the restaurants makes me happy, and it makes me happy to see the family. Leatherbees family, say hi. Hello. All right, so we have definitely two Leatherbees here. Introduce yourselves.
Jake Leatherby
and
Matthew Leatherby.
Got it. And the general managers here at the Folsom store.
Rebecca
and
Connie.
Awesome. So did you grow up going to Leatherbees? Like, how did you come to be a part of all this?
I was actually hired as a teenager, and then I grew up to where I am right now. So basically 7 years of my life I was at Leatherbees.
Awesome. Is it cool to kind of be part of that legacy, continue it?
Oh, for sure.
And what's your favorite flavor?
Ooh, I would say coffee Oreo.
Awesome. And what am I holding in my hand right now?
You have the 1982.
Got it. Because 1982 was the year Leatherby started. And what's in this ice cream?
Jake. It's caramel-based ice cream, so we take our homemade caramel sauce, put it into the machine with the vanilla-based ice cream, do a marble fudge swirl, and Oreo cookies.
Awesome. What's wild about this, when they handed it to me, you specifically said, turn it facing this way, the way it's facing the camera right now. Not this way, not this way. I was told to face it this way. Why is that?
So that way it's picture perfect.
Oh, got it. Who knew? Like, to me, I don't think it has a bad size. Ice cream is always great. Hey, check it out. The ice cream is being made right now. I don't know if you know much about ice cream, but the Emery Thompson machine that's in there, that is the Cadillac of ice cream makers. Among the best ice cream makers in the world. Why?
It's a single batch freezer, so it makes up to 10 gallons at a time, every 10 to 12 minutes, depending on the flavor. We put in 5 gallons of mix, get 10 gallons out, and then you put in all your inclusions.
I've been doing ice cream stunting with your grandfather for decades. I was this old when I learned the difference. Why the ice cream is better when you get it here than going into a store. Why is that?
It's fresh. You cannot compare the freshness because it's made here, put into a blast freezer at negative 30 degrees. The ice crystals stay small, it stays smooth, creamy, and then it gets put into our tempering freezer for 24 hours where it raises to ice cream eating temperature, which is the perfect temperature, and then it's served to the customer. So within 24 to 48 hours, it's much different than eating ice cream from a grocery store or anywhere else.
If the ice cream, this is random science, but if the ice cream freezes slow, the molecules get bigger, it doesn't taste as creamy.
Yeah, the ice crystals actually grow and expand, and therefore you get an icy ice cream instead of a smooth consistency.
It's so awesome. So being a Leatherby, we all grew up, like every celebration, whether it be a funeral, a birthday party, family gathering at Leatherby's. Where did the Leatherby's go growing up?
Pretty much Leatherby's every single day. After school, I was coming in here. My mom worked back, right back here. She managed the store. His dad was the general manager when I was a little kid. So we grew up coming here. We ate probably 5 times a week in Leatherby's, came up for dinner. My mom worked the nights, so I was always up here at night. So we came here a lot.
When you're a kid at school or going to a bank or checking in for a flight, how often do you get, are you one of those Leatherby's?
Every single day.
And I guess if your last name's Leatherby, you probably are one of those Leatherby's.
Yep.
True story, Walt. When I first moved to California, I moved to L.A. I stopped in San Bernardino at a Leatherby's, so I actually connected to this long before I even came to NorCal. How many stores are there now?
We have 5 now. We franchised long time ago, but we have 5 family-owned now in the greater Sacramento area.
Got it. And happy birthday. I'm celebrating the 2nd anniversary of Leatherby's at Leatherby's. Back to you.
Hey, Mark, how many flavors does Leatherby's actually have?
That's a good question. How many flavors do you guys have?
We have a book of all the flavors we do all year long. But at any given time, we have over 35.
Oh my goodness! By the way, I'm falling in love. This is a great flavor. Who picked the choice? Who picked what went into this flavor?
So the reason I made him say what was in it, it was his idea. We went down to we had a retreat down in Santa Cruz, and we visited a couple. We always have to sample the ice cream in every area we go. So we went down to a little place. I forget the name of it, but anyway, they had this dynamite flavor, and we said we got to make one just you know, a little bit better. So we came in and did the same thing.
Awesome. Getting high on the supply, as we say.
Yeah. That's all good. Some of the best ideas are ones that you steal from somebody else that are working. So, hey, what the heck, right? Leatherbees works. Okay. Marcus Allen and the Leatherbees team in Folsom.
Thank you so much for watching this ABC 10 Plus recap. We're here 24/7 on the free ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. You can get your local news and weather anytime, anywhere. I'm Laura Painter. Take care. I'll see you next time.
We're in day one of a weather impact alert.
Tracking a couple big weather impacts, including a red flag warning and big heat developing.
Heavy rain continues. I hear it on the roof right now. We're already seeing the impact of the storm.
We're planning for those changes.
Triple-digit heat leading to cancellations and concerns.
Stay fire ready.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on ABC 10 Plus.
Thanks for watching ABC 10 Plus. And now that you're here, why don't we take a look around and see what else is here? The very first tile on your left is always going to be streaming 24/7. You can find us adjacent to that, breaking news if it's there. And then right next to that, a replay of the most recent newscast. Whether it's ABC 10 Morning News at 5, 6, or beyond, it's going to be there. The forecast beyond that, and then right beyond that, the news that matters the most. Now that you know the basic tiles, let's go up to the top and take a deeper dive into news. We have every single newscast that you would need, including To the Point with Alex Bell, taking a deeper dive into the issues. Beyond that, ABC 10 Morning News at 5 and 6 and 11, the evening shows as well. Below that, you can watch the top stories from To the Point. Under that, Dollars and Cents, where you can learn how to navigate this challenging economy. And below that, you can watch our award-winning ABC 10 Special Investigations, where we hold the powerful accountable. Going into weather, look, it's the 10-day forecast, getting you ready for the weekend and beyond. Beyond that, sports. I know you care about the Sacramento Kings. We have the most comprehensive guide to anything, everything Kings in the locker room and on the court. We have it. Below that, I know you care about the San Francisco 49ers. Up now to shows. Very excited about this. Oh, look. It's Take a Look. This is my show. I love movies, and if you love movies or streaming shows, whether it's on screens this big, or this big, it's Take a Look. Recently went behind the scenes, sat down with Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix to talk about Joker 2. I love the movie, and oh, I just heard you shout you hate the movie. Jump in, we talk about it on this show. Other shows, Bartell's Backroads, go up and down the state of California, tank of gas getaways, one fuel cell getaway, like places like the Toy Museum. This is what kids did before they had screens. Over here, the Moaning Caverns of Calaveras County, one of the most coveted caves in all of California. You know, watching this show, I discovered there's a cave that could fit the entire Statue of Liberty in your own backyard. You'll find about that and more with Bartell's Backroads. Down below that, To the Point. It is one of my favorite newscasts because they talk about news with Alex Bell the way you talk about news. It's conversational, but in-depth at the same time. Below that, Your California Life. Love this show. Whether it's entertainment, food, beverage, lifestyle, it's there. Desiree Shepherd hosts and does an amazing job. So there you have it. It's ABC 10 Plus, the app. What do you need? We heard you and we got it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for streaming.